Your business needs help. 56.1 million employees are employed by small businesses in the United States, and 99% of all U.S. establishments are small businesses under 250 employees. That means that your business should be listening to the only podcast dedicated to small business success. That's Growth Success Radio, growthsuccessradio.com. Welcome to this week's episode of Growth Success Radio. Welcome to episode 38 of Growth Success Radio. We are a live podcast that comes to you every Friday at approximately 11:16 a.m. Eastern. And we talk to small business owners, but for the month of August, we're talking to nonprofit owners. And today we have with us Bob Gould of Gould Gives. And the show is co-sponsored by myself, Scott Gombar, Digital Marketing, and by Traeger Insurance. So you'll see in one half of the image there's Eugene Resnitsky of Traeger Insurance, co-owner of Traeger Insurance. So Eugene, tell us about Traeger Insurance.
Traeger Insurance, we are independent insurance agency based out of American, Connecticut. So what that means is we take the client's information, bring it out to the market, and we don't care about what company we put you through because we're not owned and operated by anybody. So we go for the most optimal coverage for the best price possible.
Awesome. And as I said, I'm a digital marketer, owner of a digital marketing agency. And this week I shared a stat that 94% of B2B purchases begin online. So if you're not showing up online on the first page, then you're likely not likely part of that conversation. So you do need a digital marketer, preferably me. If you want to listen to or watch past shows, you can go to growthsuccessradio.com, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and a bunch of other places. So feel free to check out the previous 30. There's 36 episodes previously because we had some technical difficulties with our previous guest as well, Bob. But that was all audio. So we're going to have to redo that one as well. So Eugene, any exciting updates in the insurance world?
Nothing really exciting except I read an article that Uber is planning on self-driving cars as well.
I saw that. I think they actually already started, didn't they?
Kind of, but it's not rolled out yet. So that's going to be interesting to see how they integrate that with their platform.
So, Bob, whose house do you take in that case?
Well, I was actually just going to ask Eugene, has there been discussion in the insurance industry about how you insure for a self-driving car? Because in the legal world, there's a big debate about self-driving cars and who becomes responsible when a self-driving car causes a crash. Is the manufacturer of the vehicle? Is the person who owns the vehicle? Who is it? The software manufacturer of the vehicle? All of those things play into the picture. And so I'm curious how the insurance industry plans on dealing with that logistical nightmare.
Well, I think a lot of it's going to come from the lawsuit that Tesla is in right now.
Yes. There's two of them now, isn't there?
Yes, there's two now. So those are going to be huge guiding factors of what the court deems as responsibility. So that's probably what's going to happen is once the court gives a couple rulings out, they'll come in and change these policies.
It's interesting because, Google owns a big chunk of Uber. So it makes sense that the self-driving car would be rolled out through Uber. So Google's supposed to have theirs out next year. Ford says within 5 years, the majority of the cars on the road will be self-driving. So it's going to be interesting. Very interesting. I think Tesla's a little further back. As a matter of fact, I think they may have put it on hold for now because of the lawsuits. So it's interesting. Yeah. So there's my update. Google says theirs will be out next year. How about that?
We'll see.
How's that for an update? I'll just share my update with Eugene today. All right, so if anybody in the chat, anybody that joins us wants to ask a question, we did have somebody in here looking for social media examiner. Now, let me tell you, if we get all their people, we're in good shape because they get a lot of people. But if anybody has a question or a comment, please feel free to ask in the chat. We'll be happy to answer it if we can. If we can't, then we'll point you in the right direction. So again, as I mentioned, we have Bob Gould with us today.
Hello.
And Bob Gould is the owner of Gould, is it Gould Law, right?
Gould Law.
But he also created a nonprofit called Gould Gives. So before we get to that, Eugene's got the first question. I didn't put it in red, so I almost missed it, Eugene. Sorry.
I was waiting to see if you're going to take my thunder like you always do.
No, I paid attention.
So, Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business before we get into the Gould Gives?
Sure. I have been a plaintiff's personal injury lawyer for my entire legal career, which began back in 1999. I have worked for plaintiffs' law firms in upstate New York City, and Connecticut. And in 2012, I opened up my own practice, School of Law, which has offices in New Haven and Hartford. And we work exclusively to recover for injured plaintiffs, handling car accidents and slip and falls, medical malpractice, workers' compensation. If there's an injury and it's not your fault but somebody else's fault, that's what we handle. I come from a long family of lawyers. My father is a lawyer, my uncle, more cousins than I can count. So law is sort of in my blood. And most of the lawyers in my family work for the little guy, not for the big guy. So we're all about fighting for the little guy. And our office has been doing that for nearly 5 years now.
Awesome. 5 years, a long time.
Yeah, we're getting there.
It goes fast, right?
It goes very fast, yes.
So tell us about Gould Gives.
So Gould Gives was the brainchild of some family members of mine who have for years been collecting new jackets, winter jackets, at the end of the winter season. And so they go all over in Connecticut and New York, and they find at Old Navy or Target or Walmart jackets that are on clearance. I mean, great kids' jackets that cost $1.99, things like that. And so my aunt specifically would buy as many as she could get her hands on and store them up until the next winter, and then she would go around to various homeless shelters and foster agencies and work with families in need and children in need to donate these new jackets to these kids. And we've had a lot of success at the firm in New Haven, and there's also a lot of poverty around New Haven. And so one of the things that I've wanted to do is figure out a way to give back to the community. And so we decided that I would start this 501c3 nonprofit, and every fee that we generate on a case, we take a portion of it and we donate it to Gould Gives. And then with that money, we have a number of people that are our shoppers, they're buyers. And when they see clothes that are on clearance, not just jackets, but clothes, toiletries, and diapers, when they find that stuff on clearance, they buy it, and we reimburse them for their costs. And it's been great. The hardest part is figuring out where to donate this stuff, because there's a lot of people in need, but finding other nonprofits that have that need has been a little more challenging than actually getting the goods in the door. So that's kind of where we came from, and we're still very young. It's our second year doing this, and we just feel great. We just donated hundreds of diapers to a diaper bank. We've had a women's shelter contact us to try and get us to buy school uniforms for some of the kids that are staying at the shelter, which we were happy to do. So just giving back a little bit directly from the proceeds of the firm has really been pretty satisfying.
It's awesome. And that's if you're not in the Connecticut area, then you don't know, but we have a very rough and cold winter typically in Connecticut, so it's important, those jackets and the heavier clothing. So that time of the year is approaching, so it's hard to believe when it's 90 degrees outside. But yeah,
and it's really incredible if you actually look for that stuff. look for winter clothes in April and May, I mean, for $20, you can buy a huge bag of brand new clothes. And you know what? There's lots of places that are giving away donated used clothing, but it can make a mother feel very proud to be able to give her kids new clothes, and it can make a teenage boy feel more comfortable going to school in a new pair of jeans and a new jacket than something that he got from some guy that has a hole and a scratch in it. So giving kids new clothes with their tags on, we find to be something that can be done easily. I mean, these stores want to get rid of that stuff at the end of the year, and when it gets cold the following year, I have bags and bags of winter clothes in my office right now.
Awesome.
So, Bob, you said it's only, 2 years?
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit what it was like starting a nonprofit, some of the challenges you faced?
Well, when we decided to do it, I am a lawyer, so I was able to handle the paperwork part of it for the most part myself. But the paperwork of starting a 501c3 nonprofit tax-exempt charity, it's a little daunting even for me as a lawyer. So I actually worked with a colleague of mine who was happy to donate his time, to it. And getting the paperwork done was probably the biggest thing. It just felt good once that was done. But then it's, you have to find ways to utilize what you want to do. So for us, we were able to get a lot of clothes and get a lot of diapers because I have family members that have been doing this for a while, and they were all too happy to start buying. But finding, and it still is a challenge, finding shelters and people in need to give them the clothes is much more challenging than you would think. I don't just want to open my doors and have, have a parade of people coming into my office all the time asking for jackets. So I'm trying to work with other licensed facilities, foster agencies, adoption agencies, youth facilities to get them what they need. And starting up, the hardest part has been to find those facilities. Buying the stuff, that's easy. I mean, I see a sign for a clearance at a store, I'll just stop in and spend $100 and get literally a trunk full of toiletries. But finding a place to put those toiletries, to give it to people, that's been the most challenging part so far.
So I don't know if you're reading the questions there because you're sitting right next to Eugene, but the next question actually.
I can't. You're every time I have no idea what's coming next. Go ahead, bring it.
Well, because the next question had to do with filing the paperwork and everything. So, and the question really said, you're a lawyer, so you may have found it a little easier, but do you find that the average person who wants to start a nonprofit, because honestly, I've toyed with the idea myself, and I've been a little deterred by the paperwork stuff. So do you find that the average citizen who didn't spend years in law school has a harder time doing this without a lawyer? So, obviously they should hire a lawyer, but
to do it right, you really got to hire a lawyer, because I'm a lawyer and I was messing it up. So, the paperwork is daunting. There's a lot that goes into it. But if you look around, you can find lawyers that are happy to do it and donate their time for a few reasons. Number one, we like to give back. I mean, lawyers get a bad rap, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of us that really like to, make the world a better place. And so it's not that hard to find a lawyer who's willing to help you out, whether it's at a reduced fee or to do it free. But if you go online and just look for the forms that you need for the state and the federal filing, you can start to get a feel for what needs to be put together. And once you have that, working with a lawyer to get the paperwork done is much easier than you think. It's just not that hard as long as you're working with someone that knows exactly what they're doing. And a lot of lawyers will do it, and they'll do a reasonably priced, or some of them will just donate their time to do it if you find the right person. But the cost is not all that significant. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you spend $1,000 or $1,500 on something, it's something that you're going to be able to use to write off. And if you want to start a nonprofit, you've got to have a couple of bucks in your pocket to do it with.
Right. Good. I was just wondering, because I know people that have either done it or tried to do it on their own, and And I was one of those person, and I saw the paperwork. I was like, all right, I'm gonna hold off on this until I speak to a lawyer. I think I brought it up to Joe once or twice, but anyway, so we have reached a break in our show. So I just wanted to remind everybody that, again, if you do have questions or comments, feel free to chat them in. And we are still giving away memberships to Network and Golf. So go to golfandnetwork.com and you can get your first year premium membership free. We will be launching, Eugene, I'm going to have you tested again, by the way. We will be launching soon. Phase 2 is done. So you can get in there and play around. It's fixed. The email thing is fixed. And then Eugene has the next question for you, Bob.
All right.
So you kind of touched upon this already, but can you tell us a little bit about the work you do with the Gould Gives, like with the charities? Is there set charities or groups that you kind of give to, or is it?
Well, I have a few set charities that I've worked with in the past before I started the nonprofit. My family used to buy Pret holiday gifts for a couple of women's shelters for women all over the country that end up at this center in New Haven, and we would buy gifts for their kids for the holidays. So there's a few different charities like that I've had experience with before I started this. So I've worked with them, and then I've tried to grow out and find other places. I have gotten on a list of resources for foster families that are taking on foster kids. So I contacted the Department of Social Services, who put me in touch with somebody, and then eventually I was put on a list. So when foster families take on, more kids, they can contact me and say, hey, we just got this 6-year-old and we could use some clothes, and I can get them, something that they need. There are some that we work with, but we're always trying to find more. There's right next to my law firm is a youth services center where young adults and older kids come to get off the streets, and they all have very little, and you'd be surprised how difficult it's been for them to find basics like toothpaste and shaving cream and shampoo. I mean, things like that. Some of these kids come off the street and stay there for a couple of months, and they show up with one pair of underwear and a pair of mismatched shoes. So helping them, they're right next door. So they just walk into my office and say, hey, we could use this, and I'm able to provide it to them.
It's awesome. It's I don't know if the stat is still true because a lot of people are leaving the state of Connecticut, but at one point Connecticut was I know it's not the richest state anymore, but at one point Connecticut was the richest state with the 3 poorest cities in the country.
It's just like that now. We have some very affluent communities and some very poverty-stricken cities, downtowns, and that's for sure.
We're, blessed by Fairfield County. It makes us the richest state, but we do have some very not rich areas.
Yeah, but one of those cities is in Fairfield County.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, fall and winter and sometimes even spring can be very brutal in Connecticut as far as the weather is concerned. Do you have anything planned, like any type of drives or anything to get these winter type clothing and boots and things like that might be needed?
Well, one of our plans is in September next month, when parents start going out shopping for their kids to get their winter clothes and ski pants and gloves and hats and jackets and stuff. We will ask people. I'll ask people I know. We'll post it on Facebook. I'll ask my clients, and my family will ask their friends to spend an extra $100 on winter clothes that you don't need, and give those clothes to us, and then we'll just write a reimbursement check. Or if they want to make a charitable donation of $100, that's great too. We're a nonprofit, it's tax write-off. So we'll be asking people to specifically buy extra stuff when they go out to get their goods for their families, and just get it to me. And I think that'll be a really nice way for people to get their kids involved. And one of the things that as a father I try very hard to do is instill with my children the need to give back. Sometimes kids don't understand how fortunate they are.
Mm-hmm.
and they don't get that there are other kids out there with very, very little. And so we've tried really hard to teach our kids to give back because they're fortunate. And so I think it's an opportunity for other parents when they go out and buy jackets and hats and all that stuff with their kids to teach their kids a little bit about what's going on in the real world and to let their kids play a part in giving back a little bit. Help letting kids pick out a jacket for someone they don't even know makes a kid feel kind of good about doing something that they wouldn't ordinarily do. So we would like to try and do something and get that going probably at the end of September after kids go back to school a little bit.
So to clarify, the clothing, is it just for kids or do you also get clothes for adults?
Our mission at this point is just for kids.
Okay. And that's any kid.
But at the same time, there's a 17-year-old is technically a kid,
right?
But they need adult-sized stuff. So if we get adult jackets in here, I'm sure there are teenagers that need it out there. I'll find a home for that stuff.
Okay.
As long as it's new stuff,
right?
We're happy to dish it out wherever we can.
Awesome. Okay, Eugene, I'll let you talk now.
Yeah, it's like Bob has his questions already. Yeah. He pretty much answers all the following questions.
I'm telling you, he's reading them over your shoulder.
No, he's not. I haven't did it. The next question was, what can someone do to help Gould Gives? And he answered the majority of it.
Well, there's three things they can do. Three things. Number one, you can go out and buy brand new clothes and get them to me or get them to someone that knows me or someone that knows my family or the person, and we will distribute it. Number two, you just donate money, and we'll use that money to buy clothes directly. And we have a number of people that when there's someone's birthday who doesn't really need a gift, if your cousin is turning 56 and she doesn't need anything, and instead of buying her a garbage paperweight or a candle, you make a donation in her name. We send her a nice letter saying a donation's been made in your name, happy birthday, and then you get a tax write-off for that amount. So we're perfectly happy to take financial donations. And third, if you're injured in a car wreck or a slip and fall and you come to my firm and we represent you, part of the fee that we earn from your case goes directly back to the charity. So if you're sort of in a toss-up, am I going to hire, Gould Law or some big fat head on a bus? You can know that Gould Law, we're going to take part of what you earn for us and give it back to a charity and get you back to the community.
Tell us how you really feel, Bob.
Well, he was talking about your face.
Yes.
On the bus, God.
Yeah.
Isn't it Joe Perone's face on a bus somewhere? I don't know.
He just has his logo, but I think we're talking about your face.
Bob, what can you recommend to someone who is considering starting a nonprofit?
Don't wait. If you want to do it, then just do it. The sooner you do it, the better you're going to feel about yourself and the better the world's going to be. And we need people to do things charitably. A nonprofit's not there to make money. It's there so that you can give back to a community and do something that makes you feel good and helps other people. And the longer you wait to do it, the more time passes where people aren't benefiting from your good nature. So if it's something that you want to do, just go get it done. It's not as complicated as you think it's going to be, and after you get things rolling, you'll understand that it wasn't as complicated as you thought it might.
That is good advice. I think that applies to a lot of things in life.
Yes.
I'm always a fan of the Nike slogan in a lot of ways. It's so simple, but so profound. Just do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Just do it. Don't wait.
Awesome. Eugene?
So you really want me to ask this question? We kind of already touched upon it.
Yeah, we did. I told you it's shoulder surfing.
Well,
I am not shoulder surfing, but if you think I'm pretty good at figuring out what you're going to ask and what the answer is, it means that I'm a good lawyer. And so, I've been doing this for a long time. I have a pretty good understanding of what types of things to ask. I know how to cross-examine people, and I can foresee what types of questions were coming today.
Listen,
except you can't cross your wife, right?
No,
person you can't cross-examine.
the best lawyer is Jack McCoy, okay? Hands down.
That's D.A. McCoy to you.
That's right. You got to get the thick eyebrows, then you can be just like him.
Next week, I'm going to grow them out nice and bushy.
There you go. Caterpillars. Go get a couple.
What I will touch on real quickly is the interplay between my office and my staff and the nonprofit. And you guys know from running a business, one of the hardest things of being a small business owner is getting your staff to buy into a particular type of culture. Whether your culture is a generous culture or a sharp culture or laid back or buttoned up, whatever your culture is, whatever you want it to be, getting your staff to really buy into that and become part of it and not just sort of nod and shrug, I think is really important. And one of the reasons that we started the nonprofit was because I really do want to give back. And I don't just say that. Like, it's important to me. And so when we started this nonprofit, I got my staff involved, and I've had them involved from the very beginning. You know, they go out and they do buying. If they want to go out and buy for an hour during the day, that's fine. They don't need to take time off to go do that. I'm happy to let them leave the office and go shopping for an hour for the charity and bring stuff back, and I'll pay them back. So we've gotten my staff to really buy into what we're trying to do, and that's helped not just the charity, but it's helped our business also, because they're invested in the firm. They're invested in the success of the firm, and they're invested in the success of the firm because they know that some of the things that we're really trying to do are really beneficial for the community. And they know we're not just in it, you know, to make as much money as we possibly can. And so one of the pieces of advice that I would give to any small business owner that's thinking about doing this is, don't just do it on your own and make it a second business that it's something that you're doing. Get the people that are involved in your other businesses involved. You know, they will buy into what you're doing, and I think that they will see a little bit a different side of you that maybe they didn't realize was there. And that helped, for me at least, it helped a lot of buying with my staff.
He kind of did answer the question you were about to ask, Eugene.
So
just so you know. But I do have another question for you.
Sure.
Because it came to me as we were talking. The logo, where did that come from?
Well, the logo for the firm, you can see it sort of right.
Is he getting undressed? Whoa.
There we go.
No, not that logo.
Well, I'll tell you, if you look at this logo, you see there's that big G right there. And so we wanted the logo for the nonprofit to have some relationship to the logo for the firm, because it is mostly firm proceeds that are paying for the nonprofit. But at the same time, the nonprofit's for kids. And so I contacted, oddly enough, I contacted a cousin of mine who is in high school. I think she's a freshman, she'd be a sophomore this year. But she's a very talented artist, and she's illustrated a number of children's books. And so I asked her to work with me to come up with a way to take the professional law logo and sort of adapt it a little bit to make it more playful, more kid-friendly, and make it, you know, it's related to the same original professional G, but it's a little different. And so we came up with a number of different designs, and at the end of the day, that's the one that we both really liked a lot, and I think she did a wonderful job with it. And we sort of to plaster that thing around also, because it's pretty cool.
It is an awesome logo. Why is that happening? I thought maybe that was the problem I had last week, Bob.
Echoes.
Yes. I thought maybe one of your kids might have done it, but yeah, that's why I was asking. But it's an awesome logo. So kudos.
We wanted it to look sort of hand-drawn and look like it's you know, it's related to childhood, you know, and it's got tiny little stick figures in there and lots of colors, and but I think it looks pretty good, and my cousin Danielle is very, very talented.
well, I thought it was hand drawn. So
She did.
Yeah, I did too.
She hand drew it. It wasn't done on the computer. That's all by hand.
Nice.
We drew it by hand and then sort of converted it into something a little sharper so we could, you know, put it on letterhead and put it on checks and things of that nature.
She's got talent.
Yes. Yes, she does.
So, Bob, you're familiar with us, so you know we have this rapid fire round where we're going to ask 4 quick questions, and you have to give us the answer off the top of your head. And, you know, maybe lose a little more of that hair there. I don't know.
You by yourself, Scott?
No, I don't have any more hair. Well, I have this to lose, but November's coming, November's coming.
Yeah.
Got to get ready.
Yep.
So Eugene's got the first one, so go for it, Eugene.
All right, Bob. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Wow, didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Hot dog or cheeseburger?
Both.
At the same time, like one sandwich?
Well, if you're going to ask me, do I want a hot dog or cheeseburger or a barbecue, I'm going to take one of each.
Such a lawyer.
I was thinking Yankee Stadium, but okay.
Hot dog. If I'm at a ball game, it's always a hot dog, and it's usually free.
Okay.
How many beers?
I would never.
Beer? What's that?
All right. Biggest passion outside the business and Gould Gives?
Being a father.
Okay.
I agree with that one. Best business advice you've ever received?
Wow, that's a really tough one. The best business advice I've ever received is don't wait too long to make a decision. You've got to decide. You can't sit in limbo forever. Make a decision, be decisive, and go with it.
All good advice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Bob. How can people bring donations, whether it's financial or clothing, toiletries, whatever? How can they get it to you?
They can mail it to us. They can swing by our office, our main office on Grand Avenue in New Haven. You can go to our website, gouldwins.com, has our phone number, has our contact information. If you want to make a donation, you can certainly make one out. Send it to us. We'll send you a receipt, and it's tax write-off. If you want to donate clothes or diapers or toiletries, stop by the office anytime. You can find the firm on Facebook, and you could message us or post to our page, and we'll respond that way as well. Send me an email. Just reach out to us, and we will make sure that we get whatever donations you want to make. Thank you.
Awesome. So make sure you guys get out there, get some jackets, get some diapers, bring it to Bob so he can get it to the people that need it. And Eugene and I will personally thank you on the next episode. So Bob, if anybody sends it to you as a result of this episode, let us know, and we'll thank them on air next episode.
Nice, thank you.
Which, by the way, Eugene, you want to tell us who we're talking to next week?
Yeah, except we're talking to the same person as this week.
No, this next week is Linda.
Is it?
Yeah.
Linda, which one?
Linda Altieri?
Yeah, Linda Altieri for
what
the...
a wonderful woman. You're going to have a wonderful time talking to her.
That was an awesome presentation she did the other day, too. I was surprised. She said it was going to be boring, but it was pretty interesting.
She had awesome magic tricks. The magic tricks.
They were impressive.
Those impressive
They
magic
were
tricks. I know next week we're going to talk to Linda, and her cause is very near and dear to her heart. I don't remember the name of the... Do you remember the name, Scott? Of the
walk is Out of the Darkness. Hang on, I'll bring it up. The actual charity.
Suicide prevention and awareness.
It is American Foundation of, did you just say that? For Suicide Prevention.
Yes.
So she has this Out of the Darkness walk on September 25th. And it is very personal for her, and I'll let her explain it, but it is very personal for her. So we're talking to her next Friday at 11 a.m.
I'll be watching.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, Bob?
Listen, I appreciate you having me on and giving some exposure to the charity. If anyone wants to do something to help us out, you're out buying some clothes, pick up something extra. Help us out.
Go Yankees.
I was just going to say that's a go Yankees.
Well, that's sort of adverse to our firm mission.
I don't know if we can be part of Gould Gives.
Unlike the Yankees, Gould Gives is a winning team.
Wow. The first time in 20 years. 20 years.
Yeah, rough. Yeah. I'm going to milk that as long as I can.
It's only going to be a couple of years. All right, Bob. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for talking to us. We look forward to good things from both Gould Gives and Gould Wins, Gould Law. So good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
You guys going golfing or something? You both have polos on. What's going on?
I'm going to something called work.
Oh, what is that?
I don't know. It's how I make money, so I can go golfing.
Oh, okay. You don't go for free. All right.
All right.
Later.